The Halo franchise has many fantastic characters. Master Chief, Cortana, Noble Six, Sergeant Johnson, Cortana, Captain Keyes, Cortana, and Cortana again. But one character who has the craziest backstory and the lore imaginable is the Arbiter, or as some of you know him as his real name, before he got a slave name like Muhammad Ali. His real name is Thel Vadam, or Vadam or whatever, but we will call him the Arbiter for this video. Arbiter is hands down the most unique POV we have in the Halo games. His story is arguably the most grounded, and ironically, the most human story of the original trilogy. His character development is by far the best in the franchise. He has one of the best redemption arcs in all of gaming, and is so unique because of who he is. In Halo, we have many POVs. We have the original POV of Master Chief. We have Noble Six in Halo Reach. We got Spartan Locke in Halo 5 if you remember that dude. And we have a few more. But the reason why the Arbiter is the most unique POV in Halo is because he isn't human. He is an alien. And when I mean he's an alien, I'm not talking about like some Mexican trying to get past my border. I'm saying he is a non-humanity POV in the Halo franchise. And not only is he not human, this dude caused so much damage to humanity, you would think his name is Genghis Khan. And honestly, Arbiter is a war criminal that even ISIS probably looks up to. Like, the stuff he has done is absolutely scary to hear.
His fleet was responsible for the death of over 1 billion humans, the glassing of 6 colony worlds, and the destruction of 123 UNSC ships across the galaxy. He proved such a credible threat to humanity, in fact, that he was designated a priority target by Oni, who conducted multiple failed assassination attempts on him.
I don't know about you, but that might be a little bit too much. My only guess is that he watched the Kardashians and thought, yeah, I think humanity needs to go. But on a serious note, this lore about the Arbiter makes his entire story so much better. In Halo 3, whenever he's next to like the Marines, it literally gives me chills. Like, these Marines know that this black Arbiter piece of doo-doo literally killed planets and planets worth of humans. I don't know about you, but that's something that would literally make me like racist against black aliens like Arbiter. Like, it's just insane that this war criminal is now on humanity's side. And he's walking around Marines who will most likely never forgive him. Like, Arbiter unironically has aura among the Marines and humanity right now. This dude is the most famous elite among humans, and not in a good way. Like, Arbiter walking around Marines is like if Hitler just casually started walking around the Soviet Union after he realized, damn, maybe I was wrong. And that's kind of why I always love playing as Arbiter in Halo 3. In Halo 3 you can play as Arbiter if you're the second player, and I love that. And you do feel so different. It feels amazing playing as this war criminal right next to Master Chief. And you can tell that Master Chief and Arbiter, well, let's just say the tensions are still pretty high.
Wait! The Arbiter's with us!
Come on now. Got enough to worry about without you two trying to kill each other.
Were it so easy.
I just love that scene so much. Whenever I'm horny, I'd rather just watch that scene than go on next videos. But one thing that I didn't like that 343 did, the new developers of Halo, is that in one of the cutscenes where Spartan Locke from Halo 5 is talking to the Arbiter, Arbiter says this.
Your people used to call him Demon. Was that an insult or a compliment?
An insult, to be sure, but one with a modicum of respect. He was indeed my enemy, but in time, I named him ally, even friend.
I don't like that because Arbiter and Chief were never friends. They were two teammates two powerhouses needing to come together to stop the great enemy. Arbiter and Chief barely even talk in Halo 3. They say like 5 words to each other because their dynamic is so beautifully crafted by Bungie. And it's just not really realistic that they will become friends. Like after the events of Halo 3, Arbiter and Chief are not texting each other saying, "Hey cutie, you up? You trying to play Fortnite later?" And being like, "Nah man, I have girl problems." But them being friends is something that I'll get to later on in the video. But Halo 2 is obviously where the Arbiter comes into the forefront of Halo. Obviously canon-wise, Arbiter does play a huge role in Halo Reach, even though he's technically not in Halo Reach. Obviously because Halo Reach takes place from the perspective of Noble 6. And obviously Halo CE is basically the same thing, but in the opposite way. Master Chief ruined Arbiter's life with what he did in Halo CE. Chief essentially got Arbiter disgraced, fired, and then rehired as the Arbiter. So it's such a perfect writing that all of this humiliation, the mark of shame, the torture, and the public embarrassment, all that stuff Arbiter faced in Halo 2 was all because of the Master Chief. The Master Chief bested Arbiter in Halo CE. And right when Arbiter found out that Chief got the best of him, Arbiter knew that his fate was locked. Such beautiful and expert writing from the team here.
Chief and Cortana to go relatively unnoticed and access the Autumn's fusion reactors, overload them, and begin the destruction of the Halo. Knowing that the clock was ticking, Thel ordered the remainder of his fleet to retreat to the other side of Threshold to avoid the blast and debris from the Halo. As they watched this artifact of extreme holiness shatter to pieces, all the holy artifacts and knowledge on board it be ejected into the black of space, Thel sat there, knowing his honor had shared a similar fate.
One thing that I always thought we should have gotten is maybe in Halo CE, a few moments where Arbiter is seen doing some horrible things, because it would make you more immersive into this scene and add a bit of nuance. I still absolutely love the scene and what Bungie, the developers, were trying to do with the Arbiter's humiliation ritual, but I wouldn't mind some nuance in it, where half of the fanbase is like, yeah, screw that yellow black alien dude and tell him to stay out of my country. And the other half of the fanbase being like, oh no, that poor sexy elite, he's being punished because he couldn't defeat the odds. I mean, I guess if you play in timeline order like Halo Reach first, and you know the lore, this scene does have some nuance to it. But either way, the scene is fantastic. This scene right here was when Thel Vadam died, and soon after, through the torture and humiliation, the Arbiter was born. And it's some really dark and humiliating stuff.
He was now this nameless, naked creature with no identity and no worth to him. He didn't belong to anybody, especially not the Covenant. He was doomed to die alone, rejected by the brothers and sisters he cared for and fought for. Could you imagine if someone did this to you because of a mistake out of your control?
Arbiter afterwards starts to have some of the most like real life and human reactions to everything. Arbiter's body language is very uncomfortable. He's very timid and like fragile. Almost like he doesn't want anyone to look at him. And when the shipmaster says he doesn't care about the Arbiter and Arbiter doesn't care, that actually just breaks even the most like gangster gangbangers' hearts in the world, man.
But it cannot hide that mark.
Nothing ever will.
You are the Arbiter, the will of the prophets. But these are my elites. Their lives matter to me, yours does not.
That makes 2 of us.
Arbiter knows he low-key ain't the alpha in the room anymore, you know? But he is a lone wolf to some degree. He does just like solo entire missions and squads like my Fortnite teammates. And that's good for him, because that's what the Arbiter was made to do. The Arbiter was made for suicide missions.
The tasks you must undertake as the Arbiter are perilous, suicidal. You will die, as each Arbiter has before you. The Council will have their corpse.
But the thing that makes the Arbiter story so great in Halo 2 is that he had so many realizations. I mean, like the prophets using Tartarus to betray the Arbiter.
Bloody fate awaits you and the rest of your incompetent race. And I, Tartarus, chieftain of the brutes, will send you to it. And the prophets learn of this, but they will take your head when they learn. Fool. They ordered me to do it.
And the realization he gets from the Gravemind. Now this is a crazy fact and something that I didn't notice until I did research on this video. Late Night Gaming was talking about this cutscene between OG Halo 2 and Halo 2 Anniversary. And in OG Halo 2, Arbiter probably has a whole other realization while looking at the Prophet.
Like how the prophets are usually presented as having smooth motions and soothing voices, while in the Gravemind cutscene the prophet is grotesque, twitchy, shaky, and just shrieking nonsense.
Arbiter slowly throughout the story gets his mojo back. This dude starts walking around with his dick out, and to find the truth. And because he's not only been humiliated, but betrayed by the prophets, he can see the world from a totally unbiased lens. He starts his own path, and the elites start following him again. And when he finds Tartarus, aka Mr. Mohawk, he doesn't fight him right off the bat. Tartarus and Arbiter disagree with each other, but Arbiter doesn't silence him, like he silenced the heretic early on in the story. I'll probably make another video on that dude one day, but Tartarus is too far gone. He wants what he's been fighting for his life, and when Arbiter defeats Mr. Mohawk, surprisingly this war criminal known as Thel Vadam is now accepted to save the truth, save humanity. Now I have seen some criticism that all this happened a bit too fast. I personally disagree with that. I think all the events had enough time and were fleshed out. It is a video game that came out in 2004 at the end of the day. But one of the most known and old school Bungie staff, Joe Staten, after decades and decades, he finally explained what was supposed to happen to the Arbiter in Halo 2 and in Halo 3.
How was Halo 2 supposed to end?
I think I could pretty much tell you that. The short answer is the last level of Halo 2 contained many of the ideas that became Halo 3.
Yeah.
I think people have heard that story. But one of the key things that happened in that last level was that the Arbiter went into the Earth Arc and learned some essential things about the Forerunners, the place of the elites in the universe, and it was the closure of the Arbiter's, not story, but his cycle from, a place of disgrace and disillusionment and antagonism with the Master Chief to really having his eyes open to the truth and giving him a moment to get on top of that realization and then make a heroic choice to continue. I won't bore you with all those details, but secretly, in my mind, Halo 2 was always the Arbiter's game. It wasn't the Master Chief's game. Halo 3 was meant to be their game together. I
really hope we get the Arbiter in Halo 7. I feel like it's necessary at this point, because the community agrees that the thing that we want most in this world isn't things like ending racism, isn't things like ending pedophilia. We want nothing but playable elites. So I feel like at this point 350 would actually just be dumb to not have him, and the playable elites. But Arbiter needs to be in Halo 7. He was in Halo 5, but his story wasn't nearly as impactful. And I would just love to see the Arbiter versus Monster Cock Atriox. I feel like as long as we get a nice setup, it would go perfectly and give flashbacks to Mr. Mohawk. And we have to actually play as the Arbiter, or else Arbiter just feels like another character. That's what it kind of felt like in Halo 5. We need to actually play as him because he is as important to the story as guys like Noble 6 and much more than Spartan Locke. But yeah, I'll probably make another video on my prediction on where his story will go in the future, especially if 343 tease him a little bit more. And yeah, make sure to like, subscribe, and peace.